I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on GBN, we're diving into the two forces that have shaped human civilization from the dawn of time: fear and courage. The name of the book we're exploring today is called Fear and Courage Today and Throughout Civilization. It is written by world-renowned scientist and thinker, Dr. Raul Cuero. And in the book, he focuses on history, culture, science, and his own life journey to show how these emotions drive human progress or hold it back. From ancient myths to the COVID-19 pandemic, this fascinating book reveals how courage begets courage and fear inhibits progress, and how each one of us can transform fear into a powerful force for achievement. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his powerful book. The links are below this interview. Doctor, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Let's start out by talking about fear and courage. What do you think is the main cause of fear and courage?
There are different causes, but all depends also on the era, the time, as well as the culture. For instance, I could make a general across board a few causes. One is uncertainty. The other one is lack of knowledge. The other one could be the perception of losing what you already possess, and also the contemporary emphasis on triumph rather than in survival. But there is another point that is coming lately, very strong, the territorial displacement of the population, which when people are displaced, they always carry the feeling that they're going to be displaced again. So therefore, we're going to have a society, not to say civilization, inhabited by people with fear, which leads to a fearful society.
Absolutely. How does the perception of triumph and survival influence fear and courage?
Excellent question. Before, I would say 18th, 19th century, there was more emphasis on survival, which is an inherent natural characteristic in all human beings. I would say animals. You go to the natural set, and you see the animals are more defensive than offensive. And then after we become prosperous, especially after the 19th century, after the Industrial Revolution, we start setting parameters of what is triumph. And those parameters were based in material achievement, including monetary achievement, and positions, and institutions. But those parameters were set up by certain culture, certain people, but was not really by the whole set of people. While survival was not emphasized, because survival was looked at as something that is for low class, poor people, etc., etc. But the people, when they achieve something, they feel with power over the rest of the people, and they feel that they are special. So they emphasize the triumph. But at the same time, triumph is something that you achieve, but it's temporarily, and you have to fight to hold it. It is an end point. Survival is a continuous, natural, continuous process, but a triumph is a very limited temporarily. So people, when they achieve a triumph, they are worried to lose it. I remember in my time when I was a basketball player, winning games was good to me, but I was worried because I was worried I'm going to lose the position at number one. I was going to lose the next game. So that's causing me tremendous fear. So you develop the sense of perfection, but nothing is perfect. You have an excellence. Perfect is a very fatalistic concept because perfection is the sum of all the human consciousness. It's not just the one thing. So people develop tremendous fear when they achieve things. That's the reason why today, not today, we always have those problems on fighting across territories and nations because everybody wants to feel that is empowered, and that's as a triumph.
And without a doubt, how does motivation and inspiration influence fear and courage?
Oh, wonderful. We have to make a distinction between motivation and inspiration. Myself as an inventor that I am, and also based on my early background as a person which didn't have much, I had a lot of people motivating, including my parents. But the motivation that they gave me was not enough for me to have a self-reliance, independence, sustainability. It was more spiritual than functional. So the motivation is when somebody who has not done much tell you what to do, but they don't show you how to do it. Inspiration is when somebody tell you how to do it, and you learn from that how to do it. Like when you look at also nature, nature is a source of inspiration because it's a source of creativity where you inspire yourself to how to do things as compared to motivation, which is just telling you do it, but not how to do it. That's a big difference. And today we need inspirational sources. We have a lot of motivated, but no inspiration. That's why my book is about inspiration because that's in my life. When I was a kid, as a person who lacked so many things, all what I want is to be a source of inspiration, and I had done it so far.
How are today's and future societies more fearful or courageous as compared to societies in the past?
Oh, today and the future societies are more fearful as compared to the civilized societies and our civilization of the past. The reason is because past society were more natural driven, nature driven, and coalescence. They were collective and they did more hands on. They were always occupied, including the Egyptian, for instance, the Roman, when they had all the people working, building things that we call today slavery. They were all occupied and they all were doing the same thing. There was a great collectivity, and doing things with hands. But today we are more individualistic. And when you are more individualistic, you become more fearful because you feel isolated. And again, as I said before, you feel like you are losing whatever you sustain. But when you are collective, that support of collectivity make you to be very courageous. I had that feeling myself.
Oh, how do we transform fear into courage?
Number one, strongly say by doing things. Today, people don't do as much by hands as they used to. When rural societies are less fearful than urban society. For instance, COVID was a great demonstration, and with the rural society were able to hold themselves with courage, with less fear, than the urban societies of New York, of Paris, because they were more collective and they were doing things with their hands. They were able to provide themselves with food. They were able to create things. But in the rural society, in the cities, in the urban society, they were not able to provide their basic sustainability, and that caused tremendously a amount of fear. But at the same time, we had to combine here. And COVID was a good example. The lack of knowledge. We tend to depend upon knowledge, like we do today, AI, but we don't know what AI is.
Right.
Yeah, and that caused a lot of fear. Yeah. And COVID was the same thing. People were scared because they don't know what a virus is. People might know what bacteria is. Yeah, they might know what a mold is, but no idea of a virus, much less of a protein, much less of a DNA, because this is another language on the commoner. This is a specific language on the scientific. That's what I say. That's what I wrote my book, The COVID Ghost Game, to make that specific knowledge more accessible to the common individual. And so he can feel less fearful when he become acquainted with those names and those processes. So the lack of knowledge make people more fearful. And for instance, in fact, that was the reason, as I say, that encouraged me to write that book, COVID Ghost Game, very accessible. We, in the past, there was some plague, the black plague of the past in Europe. Mm-hmm. That was as bad as COVID, even worse. But nevertheless, it was ameliorated by the sense of collectivity on the people. But also, there was society were closer than what is today. When you are closer, everybody is having the same effect of something. And when you see that everybody's suffering the same thing that you suffer, you fear much less. I grew up without having much, but I never felt that I had less than the other. Therefore, I didn't develop fear because everybody was at the same level field playing.
Well, you've done wonderful work on this book. The name of the book we're exploring today is called Fear and Courage Today and Throughout Civilization, the two driving forces toward achievement influenced by myths, rituals, and knowledge. It is a must-read guide to understanding and mastering forces that shape our lives. Doctor, thank you so much for joining me here today.
There is a point that you mentioned, the rituals and myth. That's very important. Yeah. One of the peak of courage in society happened during the Renaissance period, because there was a great explosion of knowledge and people doing things. And there was a great decrease or diminishing of ritual that were exceeded in the previous era, which was the medieval era. So that was the ritual. Yeah. So, and also there was no mystification or any of those ritual, especially during the Industrial Revolution. There was no mystification or any ritual. But today, we are exceeding in the mystification of ritual. And that is causing fear. So the only way that we can overcome fear is by being creative, hands-on, and being less ritualistic, especially prevent mystification of the rituals.
Wonderful, wonderful. And your book is certainly helpful in demystifying it all and having a better grasp and handle on the situation. Doctor, I appreciate your time here today. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.